All right, guys, what is going on? I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max here, and I also have the Galaxy S21 Ultra, and this is running iOS 14.4. This is running Android 11, also known as One UI 3.1. And I just kind of want to go through the settings, where to find it, and just talk about which phone I think personally has an easier to follow settings menu. So let's jump into it. So the access settings on your iPhone, it's right on your home screen. You'll see a little app for it. It says settings, so tap on settings and that will open up your settings. On Android, you can either swipe up and look for settings on your app launcher here. You'll see settings right there, so I can tap it there, or I can do it from any screen I'm on just by swiping down from the top and hitting this gear in the top right. It'll bring me to settings as well. I usually do the way I just showed you to get to the settings menu. All right, so right at the top of the screen, you're gonna see search. You can search for settings with both of these. I love that. Sometimes it's hard to find something, you don't know where it is, especially on iPhone, just because I actually think, a little spoiler alert, I actually think that Galaxy/Android has a better settings menu to go through and find things. But I'll just show you real quick. If I'm looking for do not disturb, I can just write do not, and there it is, do not disturb. I tap on it, and now I'm in do not disturb settings, and I can get in there and find some stuff. Same thing with the Galaxy side. I can search for something. There you go. Do not disturb. I can tap on it right there, and it brings me into my do not disturb settings. So it's great that they both have search, but it makes things easier to find. Both of them will show your name here if you need to know what your name is. The main difference is with Android, it's much more categorized, especially on the main screen of settings. You'll notice on settings for Android, you'll notice that, again, everything's pretty categorized to find things a little bit easier. There's a bunch of settings under display, under notifications, under sounds, under connections, under lock screen, under privacy, location, Google. Like, this is all, I feel like, categorized better. Whereas on iPhone, for me, it feels a little bit, it's similar, but I feel like it's not as categorized. For instance, you see connections. I can go to connections right here, and I have Wi-Fi, I have Bluetooth, I have Wi-Fi calling. But on iPhone, it just lists it on the main page of settings. I have Wi-Fi, I have Bluetooth, which is great. Maybe it's easier to find that way for people, but I don't know. I just in airplane mode, maybe I wish that was to make this less of a long list of things in here. I would want it more categorized. I want it as connections, and you could fit all of these into connections and it'd be a little bit easier. And then when you get down to here, like, do not disturb has it's on the main page. I mean, again, maybe it seems like they're setting it up in ways that we're going to put the most important things on the main page and then kind of hide everything else behind somewhere else. So maybe it's a little bit more difficult to find. You could search for it, or, you can find it where it makes sense, So if I'm looking for instance, let's see, if I was looking for, like I said, connections, you could just go into connections and find something. It just makes sense to me. Now, to go in here further, you can also see that we have notifications, and some of these match up with Android. Notifications is there. Sounds and haptics is very similar to sounds and vibrations with Android. You're going to go in here and you're going to see that you can mess with the sounds that you have. Same thing with Android. The general, when you go into general on the iPhone, this is going to be where you're going to see your about settings to see like what software you're running and all that, how much storage you have, how many songs, all that stuff. Very, very convenient. I love that. It tells you when your warranty runs out. So I really like the about section in here. It's a good piece of information. Software updates, go in there, you can find your software updates. But then you also have AirDrop, which is a way to send files to other devices really easily that are iOS or MacBooks or iPads, things like that. You have AirPlay, but I mean, I feel like AirDrop should probably be in connections if they had a connection set up. AirPlay and handoff, maybe connections as well. Picture-in-picture, CarPlay, and you can check out your iPhone storage in here. You can see how much you have left. You can offload stuff. Change your date and time, keyboard settings, fonts, all that stuff. For Android, the closest thing that would be About Phone. When you tap on that, you can get information about your phone, such as status information, legal information, software information, battery information. I probably like the way Apple does it a little bit more. I feel like it's a little bit more information. It's easier to follow. This Android, it's not bad, but it doesn't, like, I want to know how much storage I have left on here and all that. It kind of depends on which Android version you have. Sometimes it maybe will show that, sometimes it won't. But yeah, that's kind of the big difference. Control center with iOS, this is going to be your quick toggles right here. If you want to add, remove things in there, that's going to be your control center. For Android, it would be this. But to control it with Android, you literally just go in here and you can press and hold to move things around, or you can edit it. You don't have to go directly into settings to find that. You'll notice with Apple, you have to go into settings for almost everything, even to control certain things within an app. So if you go all the way to the bottom, you're going to see your apps, and this is going to be where you can control your settings for specific apps. Maybe it's simpler. For me, I'm so used to going within the app to find settings. So for instance, if I open up my camera app, I control all the settings from within here. And for iPhone, you would go into settings, you'd find your camera app somewhere in here, and you would change the settings that way. So it's going to be, I think it's towards the top. So you go type camera, and then you can change all the settings that you want. Next, you have display and brightness. And with Android, you have a display section. And they kind of do the way Galaxy does. You can see they do the wallpaper themes. I kind of wish they would throw that under display. I don't know why they don't. Apple does the same thing. You'll see wallpaper here. They don't do themes on Apple, but you can change your wallpaper, but you do it from right there rather than from like a display setting. And then you can come in here and you can control your brightness, change night shift, set your auto lock settings. And then with Android, it's kind of similar. You get a little bit more control because you can change it light and dark within here. You can change adaptive brightness, motion smoothness if you want. I don't know why that wasn't on that. And then you have some other settings, change your font size, your screen zooms. You can change the resolution, the screen timeouts, easy mode. So you get a little bit more control with Android. Both have home screen settings. And you can see how bare bones Apple's is. You can either change it so you have new apps added to the home screen or just to the app library, or you can even turn off show app library. That's this right here where it shows all your apps. You can turn that on or off if you don't want to see this section. When you go into Samsung's, you can change how big the icons are. You can make your folder sizes a certain size. You can show apps, an app's screen button at the bottom of your phone. You can lock your home screen layout so your apps don't move around. So you can just see there's tons more customization and controls in here. But again, it makes sense. That's the main good thing. Two more sections I wanted to show you real quick. Face ID and passcode. You come in here. And this is going to be where you can set up your face unlock to unlock certain things and make sure that it works, and maybe add another face if you need to. You can also, with Samsung phones, you get biometrics and security come in here, and you can add your fingerprints, your face recognition, and they're pretty similar for the most part, but obviously it's a little bit more technical with the Samsung. But again, pretty similar overall with what you're trying to do. And then lastly, it's kind of have like just overall settings for the phones. You can check your battery settings in here to see how well your battery levels are and things like that. You have your privacy, which would be on here as well. You get privacy. So both give you privacy sections. So they're similar in some ways, and then other ways, not so much. I find when I go back between the two phones, I personally find Apple's setting menu to be pretty confusing at times. I mean, obviously I use Android more on a daily basis. Maybe that's why I'm used to it. But I think when you just look at it like kind of the way I showed you, it's way more categorized on the Android phone. You have more controls and settings directly within the app rather than having to go in settings to find that. When you want to mess with your quick toggles, all you have to do, instead of going to settings to control these and move these around, and then with Android, if I want to move these around, I just tap that, edit buttons, and I can, click and drag and move these around wherever I want. When I'm done, I hit done. It's just very easy. I mean, this isn't hard to, figure out how to do that, but it just seems like you should be able to just press and hold and move it where you want to. But unfortunately, You cannot. So there you guys go. Which phone do you think has the better settings menu and easier to understand? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you down the road.